On a bright, sunlit California road in 1954, a sleek sports car glides into view. Its low, curvaceous body catches the eye, but it's the door that truly stops you. A door that doesn't swing outward like any ordinary car. Instead, it slides forward, disappearing smoothly into the front fender. This isn't a trick of modern technology or some futuristic concept. It's a real, mechanical innovation from a time when American sports cars were still finding their identity. The car is the Kaiser Darrin, an American roadster unlike any other, with a fiberglass body shaped for speed and style, and a door design so distinctive it instantly sparks questions. Why would a designer choose sliding doors that tuck inside the fenders? How did this unusual feature affect the car's usability and appeal? And why, despite its striking looks and ingenuity, did only about 435 of these cars ever reach customers? The Kaiser Darrin's story is one of bold creativity, meeting the harsh realities of post-war America's automotive market. Its rarity and unique engineering make it a fascinating enigma, an American sports car that dared to be different, but ultimately became a forgotten chapter in automotive history. To understand these unique doors, we first need to meet the man behind the design, Dutch Darren, an experienced coach builder with a clear vision. Dutch Darren was not just an automobile designer. He was a seasoned coach builder whose career spanned decades before the Kaiser Darrin project took shape. His experience was rooted in a deep understanding of automotive aesthetics and craftsmanship, honed through years of designing and building custom bodies long before the post-war American sports car scene emerged. Darrin's design philosophy was marked by an insistence on innovation and elegance, coupled with a practical eye for engineering challenges. One of his most distinctive ideas was born from a simple dislike of conventional outward-opening doors, which he found bulky and awkward. This aversion led him to patent a unique sliding door mechanism, doors that disappeared forward into the front fenders instead of swinging out. This innovation was more than a stylistic flourish. It reflected Darrin's commitment to rethinking everyday automotive details with fresh solutions. His earlier work included collaborations with Kaiser Frazer, the company formed from the merger of Henry J. Kaiser's automotive ambitions and Joseph Frazer's experience in the industry. This relationship positioned Darrin well to propose a bold sports car concept that could stand out in the crowded marketplace. Drawing on his coach-building roots, Darrin designed the Kaiser. Darrin's fiberglass body with sweeping, long fenders and a low profile, shapes that would have been prohibitively expensive to produce using traditional steel stamping methods. Fiberglass allowed for those flowing lines without the need for costly tooling, but it also introduced new challenges in manufacturing and finishing. The car's small, distinctive grille was another hallmark of Darrin's design, a detail that sparked debate among enthusiasts and critics alike. Unlike many sports cars relying on open or conventional doors, the sliding doors required careful maintenance to keep their tracks clean and functional, and their unusual operation could make getting in and out somewhat awkward. Furthermore, the doors did not have roll-up windows, a practical compromise reflecting the car's unique engineering. While the prototype showcased Darrin's original vision, the production model, the Kaiser Darrin 161, underwent revisions to meet regulatory requirements and production realities. These changes balanced innovation with the need for practical compliance, resulting in a car that was as much a product of its time as it was of Darrin's imagination. Understanding Dutch Darrin's background and design ethos sheds light on why the Kaiser Darrin looked and functioned unlike any other American sports car of its era. Darrin's approach to the Kaiser Darrin project also reflected the realities of working with a smaller, independent manufacturer. He was accustomed to balancing creative ambition with the constraints of limited resources and production capabilities. This sensitivity to both artistry and practicality shaped every aspect of the car, from its dramatic silhouette to the inventive solutions that set it apart from more conventional American offerings. But Darrin's vision met a challenging automotive landscape. Kaiser Frazer's post-war rise and looming financial pressures framed the opportunity and risk for this daring project. Could an American sports car capture the imagination of buyers enamored with European models? In the years following World War II, Kaiser Frazer emerged as one of the few independent American automakers to find early success. Their vehicles offered fresh designs and practical engineering at a time when the industry was dominated by the Big Three. However, by the early 1950s, this initial momentum was fading. Increasing competition, particularly from established manufacturers ramping up post-war production, along with financial pressures, began to weigh heavily on Kaiser Frazer's passenger car division. The company's position was uncertain, and its future increasingly precarious. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, European sports cars were capturing the attention of American drivers. Models from Britain and Italy, known for their nimble handling and spirited driving experiences, were beginning to attract a devoted following. These cars offered something different from the larger, more sedate American vehicles, a sense of excitement, style, and performance that resonated with a younger, more adventurous segment of the market. Importers were bringing in Jaguars, Triumphs, MGs, and others, slowly creating a niche that American manufacturers had yet to fully address. Kaiser Frazer recognized this changing landscape as both a challenge and an opportunity. The company sought to generate fresh excitement around its brand and to stake a claim in this emerging sports car market. The idea was to offer an American-made alternative that could stand alongside the imported models, combining innovative design with domestic engineering. This was no small task, given the company's limited resources and the dominance of larger rivals. It was within this context that the Kaiser Darrin project took shape. The car was conceived not only as a statement of style, but also as a demonstration of innovation. Its fiberglass body was a bold choice, allowing for sweeping curves and shapes that would have been prohibitively expensive to produce in steel for a small manufacturer. This material choice also aligned with the era's spirit of experimentation, as fiberglass was still relatively new in automotive construction. Yet, the Kaiser Darrin was built on a modified version of the compact Kaiser Henry J chassis rather than a bespoke sports car platform. This decision reflected practical constraints, but also highlighted the company's intent to balance innovation with cost-effectiveness. The result was a car that looked striking and modern, but carried under its skin a foundation rooted in an economy car. Despite its promise, the Kaiser Darrin faced a marketplace that was still quite small for expensive American two-seat sports cars. Its price point was relatively high compared to other American models, and even some imports, which limited its appeal. Additionally, Kaiser dealers were grappling with their own uncertainties, and the company's overall financial health was fragile. These factors combined to challenge the Darrin's commercial prospects. Nevertheless, the project embodied an attempt to revitalize Kaiser Frazer's image and to tap into the growing enthusiasm for sports cars. The car's unique sliding doors and fiberglass body were distinctive features that set it apart visually and mechanically. While it could not single-handedly reverse the company's fortunes, it represented a creative response to a rapidly evolving automotive market. With this market context, Darrin's prototype took shape, built on a modified compact chassis and clothed in fiberglass to realize his design ambitions. How did a modest compact car chassis support one of America's earliest fiberglass sports car bodies? The answer lies in the pragmatic yet visionary approach taken by Dutch Darren and Kaiser Motors during the early 1950s. Rather than designing an entirely new platform from scratch, the Kaiser Darrin prototype was built upon a modified version of the existing Henry J chassis, a compact and economical foundation originally developed for Kaiser Frazer's small car lineup. This choice was deliberate, allowing the project to leverage proven mechanical components while giving Darrin the flexibility to craft a striking, low-slung fiberglass body unlike anything typical in American automotive design at the time. Fiberglass was still a relatively new material in automotive construction, especially in the United States. It offered a significant advantage for a small manufacturer like Kaiser, as it eliminated the need for costly steel stamping dies. Darrin's design took full advantage of this, with sweeping fenders and smooth curves that would have been prohibitively expensive to produce using traditional methods. However, working with fiberglass also introduced unique challenges. Achieving consistent quality and finish required careful craftsmanship, and the unconventional body demanded thoughtful integration with the underlying Henry J chassis. The prototype itself was a bold statement. Its sleek, minimalist lines and distinctive proportions caught attention when it was publicly displayed well before any production models reached dealerships. Notably, this public debut preceded that of the Chevrolet Corvette, placing the Kaiser Darrin prototype among the very first American sports cars to showcase a fiberglass body to the public. Yet, while the Corvette would soon capture national headlines, the Kaiser Darrin's journey was marked by a more complex path. Within Kaiser Fraser's management, the prototype sparked debate. On one hand, it embodied innovation and the potential to invigorate the company's image amid growing competition and changing consumer tastes. On the other, questions arose about production feasibility, cost, and whether the modest Henry J chassis could adequately support the expectations set by Darrin's elegant design. Some accounts suggest initial skepticism from company leadership, with discussions highlighting the tension between daring design and practical business considerations. Despite these internal debates, the prototype's public display was a crucial step. It demonstrated Kaiser's willingness to experiment and respond to the rising American interest in sports cars. Yet the prototype was not identical to the final production model. As the project moved forward, adjustments were necessary to meet regulatory requirements, improve usability, and address manufacturing realities. This period laid the groundwork for the Kaiser Darrin 161, the production version that would ultimately reach showrooms. But the transition from prototype to production involved significant changes, most visibly in the car's unique sliding doors, convertible top options, and the small grille that would become both a signature feature and a point of controversy. These elements would define the car's character and market reception in ways the prototype alone could not predict. But the production car differed from the prototype, especially in its unique sliding doors, convertible top, and the small grille that sparked debate. What made the Kaiser Darrin's sliding doors so distinctive, and how did they shape the car's character and usability? Unlike any other American sports car of its time, the 1954 Kaiser Darrin featured doors that didn't swing outward on hinges, but instead slid forward into pockets built into the front fenders. This ingenious mechanism was the result of a patented design by Dutch Darren himself, reflecting his clear preference to break away from conventional door designs. The sliding doors gave the car a sleek, uninterrupted side profile, contributing to its striking, low-slung appearance. Yet, this innovation came with its own set of challenges. The tracks guiding the doors required careful maintenance to stay clean and functional, and the unusual entry and exit could feel awkward compared to traditional door operation. Moreover, the doors lacked conventional roll-up windows, which added to the car's distinctive minimalist aesthetic, but also meant compromises in everyday practicality. Alongside the sliding doors, the Kaiser Darrin offered a unique three-position convertible top. This arrangement allowed drivers to choose between a fully closed cabin, a partially open setup with the rear portion of the top down, or a completely open roadster experience. It was a flexible design that catered to different weather conditions and personal preferences, enhancing the car's appeal as a touring sports car. The production car also displayed several design changes from the original prototype. Most notably, the large grille opening that characterized the prototype was replaced by a smaller, more controversial grille on the production model. This grille became one of the car's most recognizable visual elements, though opinions on its aesthetics varied widely. Adjustments to the windshield and interior were also made to comply with state vehicle regulations and to improve production practicality. These changes ensured the car could meet legal standards while still retaining its distinctive character. The use of fiberglass for the body was another defining feature. It allowed Kaiser Motors to create complex, flowing shapes that would have been prohibitively expensive to stamp in steel for a small manufacturer. However, working with fiberglass introduced its own manufacturing challenges, including finishing quality and durability concerns. These factors shaped the car's final appearance and contributed to its niche status in the market. Together, the sliding doors, convertible top, and styling revisions reflected a balance between innovative design and the realities of production and regulation. They gave the Kaiser Darrin a character that was both beautiful and undeniably unconventional, setting it apart from other American cars of the era. For a small independent manufacturer, these choices reflected both ambition and constraint. The Darrin's blend of inventive features and necessary compromises underscored the realities facing post-war American carmakers, eager to stand out, yet limited by resources, regulations, and the unpredictable tastes of a changing market. Beneath the striking body, a modest Willys six-cylinder engine powered the car, contrasting with its dramatic looks and shaping its driving experience. Beneath the Kaiser Darrin's sleek and daring exterior lay a powertrain that told a more modest story. The heart of the production Darrin 161 was a Willys-supplied F-head inline-six engine, displacing approximately 161 cubic inches and producing around 90 horsepower. For a sports car flaunting such dramatic styling and a price tag that placed it in a competitive niche, this engine's output was, by comparison, restrained. While the six-cylinder was reliable and adequate for everyday driving, it lacked the punch many enthusiasts expected from a car that looked the part of a high-performance roadster. This power plant was not a bespoke racing engine or a high-revving unit designed for speed. Instead, it was a practical choice rooted in the realities facing Kaiser Motors at the time. By basing the Darrin on a modified version of the compact Henry J chassis and using an existing Willys engine, Kaiser could keep development costs in check. However, this practical approach also meant that the car's performance credentials were compromised. The 90 horsepower output translated to a driving experience that was competent but hardly thrilling when measured against the expectations set by the car's appearance. The Darrin's handling and braking characteristics further reflected its underpinnings. The chassis, originally designed for a modest compact car, was adapted for the sports car body, but was not a purpose-built sports chassis. Consequently, the Darrin did not deliver the razor-sharp handling or braking performance that enthusiasts might associate with European sports cars or even some American competitors of the era. Instead, it offered a balanced but unremarkable driving feel, capable of daily use but lacking the excitement and precision that would have elevated its standing in the emerging sports car market. Another notable aspect was the car's transmission and drivetrain setup, which adhered to familiar and proven mechanical components. This conservative engineering approach prioritized reliability over cutting-edge performance. Moreover, the car's relatively heavy fiberglass body, while innovative in material use, did not significantly lighten the overall package to enhance acceleration or agility. Some Kaiser Darrins were later modified, often by private owners or dealers, with more powerful engines or even superchargers to boost performance. There are accounts of Howard Dutch Darrin himself installing Cadillac V8 engines in certain remaining cars after production ended, but these were exceptions and post-production alterations rather than factory standards. Such modifications, while intriguing, should not be confused with the original production models or regarded as representative of the car's initial engineering intent. In essence, the Kaiser Darrin's powertrain and driving dynamics presented a contrast to its striking aesthetics. The car was more a statement of design innovation and American ambition in the sports car arena than a pure performance machine. Its modest engine and conventional mechanical setup underscored the compromises Kaiser Motors faced, balancing cost, production realities, and the desire to offer something distinct in a market beginning to embrace both domestic and imported sports cars. This balance between style and substance influenced where the Darrin fit within the 1954 sports car landscape, especially alongside the emerging Chevrolet Corvette. As the American sports car scene began to stir in the early 1950s, two fiberglass-bodied contenders emerged almost simultaneously, each with its own story and strategy. The Kaiser Darrin's prototype made a public appearance before Chevrolet's Corvette debuted, positioning it as one of the earliest American sports cars to experiment with fiberglass construction. Yet, by the time the Darrin reached dealerships in 1954, The Corvette had already captured the national spotlight. This timing difference proved crucial. The Corvette, backed by General Motors' vast resources and dealer network, quickly established itself as a symbol of American performance and style, while the Darrin, produced in far smaller numbers, remained a niche player. The Kaiser Darrin's fiberglass body was a practical choice for a small manufacturer like Kaiser Motors. Unlike the costly steel stamping dies required for traditional bodies, fiberglass allowed for the creation of the Darrin's flowing sculptural lines without exorbitant tooling expenses. However, fiberglass also brought its own challenges, including labor-intensive finishing and inconsistent quality. This contrasted with the Corvette's more standardized production methods, which benefited from GM's industrial scale. One of the Darrin's most distinctive features was its sliding doors, a patented design by Howard Darrin himself. Unlike the conventional outward-swinging doors found on the Corvette and most other sports cars, these doors slid forward into the front fenders, disappearing neatly out of sight. While innovative and visually striking, the sliding doors introduced practical quirks. Entry and exit could be awkward, especially given the narrow opening, and the door tracks demanded careful maintenance to function smoothly. Moreover, the doors lacked traditional roll-up windows, which some buyers found inconvenient. Under the hood, the Kaiser Darrin was powered by a Willys-supplied F-head inline-six engine, displacing roughly 161 cubic inches and producing about 90 horsepower. This was modest power for a car with such a sporty appearance and a price tag that positioned it higher than many contemporaries. For comparison, the 1954 Chevrolet Corvette, equipped with a 150 horsepower inline-six, offered more spirited performance at a somewhat lower price point. Meanwhile, European imports like the Jaguar XK120 or the Triumph TR2 appealed to enthusiasts seeking refined handling and established sports car pedigrees, often at competitive prices. Price was a significant factor shaping the Darrin's market reception. Priced relatively high compared to both the Corvette and certain imported rivals, the Darrin struggled to justify its cost solely on performance or prestige. Its unique styling and innovative features attracted attention but did not translate into broad sales success. Additionally, the sports car market in America was still emerging, with buyers cautious about committing to expensive, specialized vehicles. Dealer confidence also played a role. Kaiser's passenger car division was under financial pressure, and many dealers were uncertain about the company's future. This uncertainty affected their enthusiasm for promoting a niche sports car like the Darrin. In contrast, Chevrolet's extensive dealer network and established brand loyalty gave the Corvette a stronger foothold. Though the Darrin's production came after the Corvette had already made its mark, it remains significant as an independent and creative response to the growing American interest in sports cars. Its fiberglass body and sliding doors set it apart from both domestic and imported competitors. Yet even with its unique appeal, the Darrin faced hurdles beyond the showroom. Production challenges and dealer uncertainty clouded its prospects. The Kaiser Darrin arrived at a time when the American automotive landscape was shifting rapidly, but its commercial journey was anything but smooth. Despite its striking design and innovative features, the car's production faced significant hurdles that ultimately limited its reach. Only about 435 units of the Kaiser Darrin 161 are generally recognized as having been completed before the model quietly exited the market in 1954. This modest production run reflected a confluence of factors beyond mere consumer interest. Fiberglass, while an exciting material choice, brought its own set of challenges. For a small manufacturer like Kaiser Motors, creating a sleek, low-slung body without the expensive steel stamping tools was an advantage in theory. Yet in practice, working with fiberglass demanded specialized skills for molding, finishing, and quality control. Imperfections could easily arise, and maintaining consistent build standards was a constant struggle. The sliding doors, a hallmark of Dutch Darren's design, added another layer of complexity. Their patented mechanism required precise alignment and ongoing maintenance to keep the tracks clean and functional. The unique door operation, while visually captivating, sometimes made entry and exit awkward. which did not always sit well with buyers accustomed to conventional designs. Compounding these production issues was the broader context of Kaiser Motors' waning confidence among its dealer network and customers. Once a post-war success story, Kaiser Frazer's passenger car division was gradually losing ground amid intensifying competition from the big three automakers and growing imports. Dealers were uncertain about the company's future, and that hesitation inevitably affected enthusiasm for promoting an expensive, niche sports car like the Darrin. The car's price point, relatively high for its performance in the era, made it a tough sell against rivals such as the Chevrolet Corvette, Jaguar XK120, or Nash Healey. While the Darrin's Willys-supplied F-head inline-six engine delivered around 90 horsepower, this output was modest compared to the expectations set by its sleek appearance and price tag. Importantly, the Kaiser Darrin was not the cause of Kaiser Motors' decline, nor could it have been expected to reverse the company's fortunes on its own. Instead, it was a bold but ultimately limited expression of innovation amid a company grappling with financial pressures and a shifting market landscape. The production Darrin also differed visibly from Dutch Darrin's original prototype, reflecting necessary revisions for practicality and regulatory compliance. These changes, while essential, may have diluted some of the prototype's original allure. Dealer uncertainty combined with production challenges and the car's modest performance relative to its cost all contributed to its short-lived production run. Yet the story of the Kaiser Darrin does not end with its factory closure. Reports of a severe winter storm damaging a group of cars stored outdoors added another layer of misfortune, casting a shadow over the remaining inventory. Howard Darrin himself reportedly took an active role in managing these damaged and leftover cars, selling some through California in the years that followed. This chapter of the Darrin's history hints at the resilience of both the car and its creator, navigating adversity in a rapidly changing automotive world. Adding to its difficulties, reports of a severe winter storm damaging stored cars further clouded the Darrin's fate, with Darrin himself stepping in to manage remaining vehicles. The final chapter of the Kaiser Darrin's story is marked by a mix of unfortunate weather and uncertain circumstances that clouded its commercial prospects. Among the many challenges the car faced, historical accounts often point to a severe winter storm that struck during its short production run. Several Kaiser Darrins, reportedly stored outdoors at the factory or dealership lots, suffered damage from heavy snow and freezing conditions. While the exact number and severity of this damage remain a matter of some debate, these events certainly added to the difficulties already facing the model. It's important to understand, however, that this storm was only one of several factors affecting the Darrin's fate, and it should not be seen as the sole reason for the end of production. Following the cessation of manufacturing in 1954, Howard Dutch Darrin himself took an active role in managing what remained of the inventory. Reports suggest that he acquired several unsold or damaged cars, some of which he later sold through outlets in California. This phase of the Darrin's existence reveals a fascinating if complex afterlife for the car. Some of these vehicles were modified post-production, with a few receiving more powerful Cadillac V8 engines or superchargers, enhancements that were never part of the original factory specification. These alterations, while intriguing, must be clearly distinguished from the standard production models, which came equipped with the modest Willys-supplied inline-six engine. The story of these later modifications adds layers to the Darrin's legacy. They reflect a desire by some owners and by Darrin himself to boost the car's performance and appeal, but they also complicate the historical record. It's crucial to separate these later changes from the original design and production intent, ensuring a clear understanding of what the Kaiser Darrin was at launch versus what some examples became over time. This period also highlights the practical and financial challenges that Kaiser Motors faced in sustaining a niche sports car during a time of intense competition and market change. The company's dealer network was struggling, and consumer confidence in Kaiser's passenger cars was waning. In this environment, Even a car as innovative and visually striking as the Darrin struggled to find a secure foothold. While the storm and subsequent damage to stored vehicles are often cited in discussions about the Darrin's short production run, they represent just one element in a confluence of obstacles. Production timing, pricing, performance limitations, and broader company struggles all played a role. Yet through it all, the Kaiser Darrin endured, not just as a car, but as a symbol of bold design and ambition. For collectors and historians, tracing the origins and modifications of individual Darrins can be a challenge, as each surviving car may carry its own unique story shaped by circumstance and later intervention. Today, the surviving Kaiser Darrins stand as intriguing relics, beautiful, inventive, yet reminders of a challenging era for American sports cars. Decades after its brief production run, the Kaiser Darrin still captures the imagination of collectors and automotive historians alike. Its innovative sliding doors, which quietly disappeared into the front fenders, remain a striking reminder of Howard Dutch Darrin's unique approach to design, an approach that deliberately challenged conventional ideas about sports car doors. The Darrin's fiberglass body, shaped with flowing lines and a distinctive small grille, set it apart visually in a period when American cars were mostly steel and chrome. Yet, beneath this beauty lay compromises: modest performance from its Willys-supplied inline-six engine and a chassis adapted from the compact Henry J, rather than a dedicated sports car platform. These factors, combined with Kaiser Motors' uncertain market position and timing that saw the Chevrolet Corvette steal much of the spotlight, limited the Darrin's commercial success. Still, its rarity, just over 400 production cars, and the stories of damaged and modified examples have only deepened its mystique. Today, surviving Kaisers are prized not just as rare collectibles, but as symbols of independent American creativity during a challenging post-war era. They invite us to reflect on how innovation in the automotive world often comes with risk, and how many fascinating ideas may have quietly slipped through history's cracks. What other automotive designs from the past might remain hidden, waiting to be rediscovered? If this story of the Kaiser Darrin's daring blend of beauty and compromise intrigued you, consider subscribing for more explorations into the world of classic cars. End of documentary.